Alright guys, today we're going to be taking a look at the Glock value for money tier list. I have a few Glocks I love and there's 50 of them in the game right now and I want to go through and give them all a proper ranking. But remember, this is a value for money tier list, so it's not just visuals and the price will play a big factor. Keep that in mind and let's get into it. Alright, going to the same format as before. We're going to go from S all the way down to F tier and I'm going to keep my camera on this time in this lovely position so you can watch the waffle in its full glory. Now, we get to kick things off with the pink DD pack. Now, I've taken souvenir pricing for this one. It's one of two that I take souvenir pricing for. Minimum wear is about $9. I really like this skin, but it is kind of tricky to justify for $9 for what it is, even though it's a pattern-based skin. So I think early on, as much as I like this skin, I think I'm going to have to be bold and put it in C tier. Then we have our first new skin. It is the Glockenbird. I'm going to go minimal wear for this as well. Most of these are minimal wear, and I will detail otherwise when they're not. And obviously, this price will continue to go down. At the time of planning, which was the 11th of April, it's coming in at $25. So it is pretty hefty. It is a unique looking skin, but again, for me, this is where my bias is going to come in a little bit because I don't love this for the money you're paying. But I do think, in all honesty, it's probably in this C tier because you do get a lot of artwork as well. Then we get the race, and this is an interesting one because it's actually an interesting level of design on this, but it is grey, it's very defaulty, but the plus side is it's 45 cents. You also get the nice little bit of green at the back, which is a little bit nice, but this is an interesting one because for like when you're paying half a dollar, you're getting some detailing and it's clean. That is good value for money. So I'm going to put it A tier to begin with, and I will review this at the end because maybe it should be dropping down to B. Then we have the Wasteland Rebel. Now, this is honestly a very nice skin. It comes in just under $5 though, which is where I start to think the value for money is it dropping a little bit because we have 50 Glock skins and there's so many cheap good options. It's really hard to put an almost $5 skin of this level that high up the list. So with that in mind, I think we've got our first B tier skin put in pretty well, and this is actually setting a nice foundation. Now, this is where things might get interesting. We have the Umbral Rabbit. This is an 81 cent skin for minimal wear. When I was planning this out, I was thinking, man, maybe it's S tier because the level of artwork you get on a skin that's clean and under $1 is fantastic. And it's a little bit up for debate right now, I can't lie. But for now, I'm going to put it in A tier and see what we get for the S tier. Here comes the Axia, which is going to be a tough conversation for me, if I'm honest. This is a $44 skin almost. Yes, the glitter effect on the blue is nice. When you are running with it in idle, though, a lot of the blue's hidden. And it's just this kind of like somewhat shiny reflective top. But this one, I like this, and I like the craft potential people could do along the top of it. But when you're talking over $40, I think it's a tough sell, personally. So much so, you know, I'm going to put it at the bottom of C tier. And with there being so many Glocks, we do get the likes of the Death Rattle, where it is just so cheap. So you're thinking, oh yeah, value for money is going to be there. It's an 11 cent skin, right? Minimal wear, it's nice and cheap. How many people want to run this, however, is probably where it gets a little bit tricky because it's not the most desirable kind of artwork. It's for that. I think skins like this are kind of deserving of being B tier. They're really cheap, they don't hurt, so the actual value is there. I can't lie, I had a phase last month where I was really enjoying the red tire, and that's when I was planning a red loadout and stuff, and in some patterns, it can be nice. What I dislike is I have to go factory new for $4.60 because it wears badly and you can really see some of the wear starting to come into play. So with it in mind that you need to get a good pattern for it to look good and it wears badly and it's almost $5 and there's better sort of red skins out there. I know this is mostly black, but still. Again, I think this is a C tier value for money. It's a tenth of the price of the Axia. You get some interesting artwork, but it is very pattern dependent. Now, just to prove that I am putting my bias to one side, I'm going to give a fair review of the Franklin. Now, this is a $44 skin. It's factory new. I personally don't like it that much. I think the P250 is much more palatable, it's much cheaper, but value for money stronger. But just because I hate it doesn't mean I can put it in D tier. When you're saying $44 skin and you've got like the Axia, and then at $25 you've got the Glockenbird, $40 for the Franklin, I think I was considering B tier, but I think there's going to be better options to go into B tier, so this is probably in this C tier range. And then we have the Brass. Now, this is my only field test to pick in here, and it's $20 for the field test. And now, don't get me wrong, you saw there, this can get nice lighting on it, and it can look cool, but overall, it's a little bit plain and boring, in my opinion. So much so that I'm actually going to drop it into D tier. I don't think it's worth spending the money on that skin. No. What's the chances that our first S tier skin is going to be the Moonrise? And this is honestly getting me thinking about the Umbral Rabbit, because the Umbral Rabbit's amount of artwork you get for a lower price, because this is $1.05 in minimal wear, is pretty strong, but this is an S tier skin, no doubt. It's purple. Purple's a very popular loadout color. It has the rare star pattern you can go for. I think the only downside you'd argue is that it's sort of like the default grip at the bottom, but at least when you're using it in idle, you see max purple. So yes, without a doubt S tier, and with that, I am going to move the Umbro Rabbit into S tier for now as well. I have always been a big fan of the Candy Apple and what it has to offer, because that default grip area is actually a slightly different color, and in fact, it's an absolutely perfect clean red. It only costs you $1.15 for red loadouts. This is just honestly perfect. I know myself and others out there, we like having high levels of artwork, but when you want the color theme and it's basically $1, it's hard to argue against. With that said though, with it lacking the artwork, I think it's actually an A tier value for money. Okay, we're back to spending a little bit of money. We have the Bullet Queen coming in, and this is a $12 skin in minimal wear. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but you do get a decent level of artwork on it. The one downside is that when you use it in idle, you don't really see the artwork at all. You maybe see some of the bullets, you see a little bit of the orange and the white, but overall, it's just, once it's an idle, lackluster. So for me, that's another C tier skin. Like, it's fair to buy it, it's not awful. For $2.50, basically, you can get a minimal wear nuclear garden. Now, this compares very heavily to the Moonrise for me, in regards to a nice green top, as well as a nice purple top, but then default around it. Great and idle. It is also pattern based, all the nuclear gardens are, which is very nice to have, so you can hunt if you want to, but I don't think I can put it in S tier. For me, I think this is an A tier value for money skin. So it's a bright nuclear green, right? And it costs $2.50. It's pattern based. It fits those loadouts really well. One of the newer skins we've had is the Block 18. Now, this was actually really creative. I kind of like what they've done with it. The one reason I'm going to give this like negative points is that it's not pattern based. I feel like a Lego brick skin, yes, I'm sure that making that like artwork file would have been a little bit messy with different brick sizes and everything, but I feel like this is the sort of skin that should just be pattern based. So you could maybe say that top bit, for example, you somehow get like lots of yellow and white, or you get lots of red and black, for example, and you get different color options. That's the one thing that holds this Block 18 back, in my opinion. And as for that, although it's $1.40, I think it's just top of B tier value for money. It's a very niche skin, and they missed the mark a little bit. Okay. Minimal wear Sand Dune. There's not much for me to say about this skin. I dislike sand dunes in general, and the fact that this is $25 is just then making it awful value for money, in my opinion. I know some very niche people like using them, and they fit the gloves they use, but overall, very poor value for money. I actually think it's worse value for money than the brass, so it's going to be our first F tier skin. We have another new skin in the Ocean Topo. Now, this one, I mentioned it in the video I did. I expected it to be nicer in-game based on the sort of the preview I saw. It's not a bad Glock, but just it didn't have that pizzazz I was expecting. It is $1.43. It is full blue, which is nice, and some of the blue options you'll see in a second are a little bit messy at times, so this is definitely strong value for money, and I'm going to preempt this with the fact it's going to get cheaper. So it's already $1.43. This is going to become under $1 for a full blue Glock. It kind of has to go into S tier value for money. The Neo Noir then offers up what is probably the perfect example that I've been talking about, at having expensive skins that don't have like high levels of artwork. The Neo Noir at least gets this artwork. You're spending $24, so this is basically in that same price category as the Sandrin and as the Brass. Yes, visually you might prefer the other two, but this, for a level of artwork offering and colors and pop and just everything about it, it just speaks about a higher volume, in my opinion. So when I look at that versus the Bullet Queen, great example comparison, in Idle, the Neo Noir actually looks good, which means although it's expensive, it is like a B tier value for money. I can already imagine the comments around this one. The Synth Leaf. It's $450. It is fucking expensive. There's no getting around that. Personally, I think it's a fantastic skin. I love the actual shades of the colors that there are, and I like this style of pattern. I just wish this was like a £5 skin, because I would definitely be running it. You might question it now, but I'm putting it in D tier, and you'll see why. Next up is an old classic in the Water Elemental. I think most of the community just likes this skin, appreciates it. Red and blue is kind of that interesting pairing, but it does give like a really nice sort of pop of colour. And as we say, it's just an OG of the game. Being $7.40 is where I'm a little bit iffy on if it should be A tier or not. I think when you look at A tier, you've got $2.50, $1, just over $1, and then $1. So for now, high B tier I think is a good value point for it. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bit baffled when I saw the Snack Attack is over $8 now. I don't know why, I just thought it was like a $5 skin or something. This is interesting. It's very, very different to anything else we have in the game. I think it being that very different is what makes it niche though, which is where I struggle to be like, yes, this is something that lots of people are going to want to run. It's with that in mind, I think this deserves a nice C tier. It can be good if it fits you. but compared to these other things in B tier, it's just not quite there. And now I'm going to sort of call out to the brown skin appreciators. We have the Weasel. I don't know what it is. I feel like this is a bit of a love-hate skin. I've never personally wanted to run it, but I see some people running it in nice combinations, and it can look good. It's got little floral patterns. It's got the Weasel nicely drawn on it, and it's only 90 cent. Now, being 90 cent, it makes me feel like, should it be in this level here, but with the race? And maybe it should be an A tier. I'm torn between like the end of A and the top of B. As we go through, it's getting really hard to keep sort of the consistent rating in mind that I'm going for here. The night question's at, because it's $3.90 in minimal wear. Now, minimal wear, it still looks pretty clean. You're going to get some scuffs in the back, but overall, pretty nice looking skin. If that's the color theme that you're going for. If you compared this against the Nuclear Garden, against the Block 18, anything like that, I feel like you're getting better value for money elsewhere, but if you run Lunar Weaves, then this is a perfect pairing. I can't rely on you using the right pair of gloves to pair with it, so for that, I think it's fair to say this is like a C tier value for money. This next one will pain me a little bit, because I actually quite like the dragon tattoo. It reminds me of those old Game Boy Advance I used as a kid, and that nostalgia hit and vibe, just, it does something for me, but at almost $100, it's such a hard one to justify, like, that this has good value for money. So unfortunately, it's with that, I'm finding it in D tier with my brass and synthleaf. Okay, I don't know how far through this are. There's 50 skins, it's a lot to get through. We have the Off-Road up next. Now, this is a 21 cent skin in minimal wear. It also has an Easter egg and battle scar, which is even cheaper, which is really nice. So with that, I'm already seeing a lot of value in this skin. Even though it's not the most flashy, it's still actually a nice shade of blue overall. Plus, Easter eggs are always nice to have. So it is without a doubt an S tier value for money pick. The Royal Legion is one that finds itself in that weird category because it's doing something different, which is nice. I want to see new ideas come to the game because it'll fit something for someone, but not everyone loves it. And it's this weird sort of browny orange with some nice detailing on the top, but I would look at this and want to pay like $1.50, $2. Pushing $3.60 to $4 makes it a bit of a hard proposition. But it's not an awful proposition, so I'll go like just high of C tier. The Blue Fisher is up next. Now, this is just an odd skin in my opinion. It's $2.30 minimal wear. I don't really get what the black sort of cracks and marks are over it. And then it's a weird blue shade with a weird pastel-y sort of grey. Overall, I don't like this skin much, and especially on a blue side of things when there's so many good value for money picks. I can't see why anyone would lean into this as an option. Now, I can't drop it into D tier because it is only $2.30, but I think it's in this conversation with like the snack attack and the red tire kind of thing. Just, there's nothing to them. Now, I bloody hope that this one comes down in price because I cannot justify it right now being almost $10, and it should be dropping down. Now, it is the Coral Bloom. I have to take myself away my hatred for this skin. It actually has detailing everywhere, which is something that we've been talking about. We want artwork everywhere, and we pretty much get that, but it's just a very weird blossom design. I know I'm a bloke talking about it. Maybe there's other people that do like this design, but I don't know. It's hard for $9.50. It is going to keep dropping in price, and some people might like the artwork, so I'm going to have to put it in just C tier. I think that's a fair sort of dropping it into the mix. And now we have the reason that the Synthleaf is not in F tier. We have the Glock Fade, and this would cost you $1,500. You can build an entire loadout with a sick knife and glove combo for $1,500. Just put that into context. This is F tier value for money, without a doubt. There's no conversation around it. And the fact that the Synthleaf is less than a third of this price, when you contextualize it that way, that's why the Synthleaf gets away with being in, well, not in F tier. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, surely that means the Sand Dune should be D tier if I'm doing that for the Synthleaf. Sand Dune is just being hated on here. It's going F tier. You guys can disagree if you want to. It's at this point, I feel like I'm going to start filling out my D tier. Maybe I've been too kind to some skins in that C tier already, but this is a Steel Disruption. It's almost $4 factory new. It does absolutely nothing for me. When you see those other Glock options out there, there's no offer in here. And while it's not absurdly priced like some of the others in D tier, it's getting itself in there. Now, the High Beam at 12 cent is a hard one to say there's not value. And it is pattern based as well, so it's kind of interesting. But overall, sorry to anyone that uses it, but it's a little bit of a lackluster skin overall. But it's not expensive. I know I have the Death Rattle in at B, so maybe this is where the High Beam should go as well, just sort of price offering wise. And I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of me wanting to put this in S tier. This is the Oxide Blaze. This is 15 cent minimal wear. It just looks good. It's got little smiley faces on it. It's got little markings. It's got that flame on it, which everyone loves on the Blaze and wants to pay $800 for. So, like, why would you not want this? Like, it's just a cool skin. So I'm going to put it A tier for now while we build those tiers out, but we'll see how we go. Now, this one has a bunch of patterns. I'm only going to show you one that I've generated. This is the teal graph. 70 cent minimal wear from the Overpass collection, I believe. This, though, however, you can get, like, more heavy red patterns, you can get more heavy blue patterns. They're all still pretty cheap. It's got a little bit of graffiti on it. The sort of blue color, which I'm assuming is teal given the name, can actually look pretty good. So I like this overall, much like what the Block 18 should have been. Give us patterns, man. Let us pick. And I like this one so much, so I actually think, you know what, not S tier, but I'm going to put it at the end of like A tier. I think for 70 cent for a pattern-based skin, you get a lot here. And the Winterized is one of those skins that got me really debating, and I still have that issue today. Like, having a skin that only costs under $1 while I have other items costing hundreds. It's such a weird juxtaposition to be in, but you feel like you need to spend more on key weapons because you spent more elsewhere, but that's not the case. 9 cent gets you a fully detailed skinned option. Think of those skins that are $2 that have no detail on the bottom half of them. This has the camel pattern on the bottom. It's got the grip customized. Yes, when you use it in idle, it is heavily black and grey, but you still get a bit of the camel coming through. This is just undoubtedly an S tier value skin, and it's definitely going to be making its way in there. And despite how cool this skin is, I feel like it just gets slept on a little bit. It's the Sacrifice. It's all based on Olaf's Diffuse. At least I hope it's Olaf, otherwise I'm cooked. That he did on Overpass. And it's really cool to have a skin made after that. There was the graffiti as well. But I think it's just execution maybe for long term and how it's aged into CS2 isn't all there. But at 26 cent, I can't say that it deserves to be like any lower than B tier. Right, so I've zoomed out so I can fit everything in. And say hello to our next F tier value for money skin. It's the Twilight Galaxy. I know why people like this. It's $185 factory new. There's a bit of a flex in owning it because of the price, and honestly that's part of the issue we have as CS collectors. We just want the most expensive item. But this is, you'll see another skin in a moment that is so much better value for money than this. It looks not too dissimilar. And again, the Synth is double the price, but at least you're getting detail in everywhere, and nice colouring. This is actually potentially a future S tier value for money skin. We're going to have to see where the pricing settles. At the time of planning, it was just over $19, which already isn't bad for the amount of detailing that you actually get here. And this also looks good in Battle Scar. So I picked this in minimal wear. You could go field test down the Battle Scar, and it goes more pinky, a little bit like the Black Lotus does. So if this continues to drop down in price, and at some point you can get minimal wear under $10, then the value proposition here definitely increases. And I do appreciate it's not for everyone, this artwork style, but at least the colour of it and the craft potential, it's amazing. And given on its like potential future pricing, that's why I'm going to put it in B tier. I feel like with future pricing and what it can go to, there's actually good value here. The ironwork isn't too dissimilar to what you get with the Wraith, but just for me, I feel like the Wraith looks a bit better, and you don't get that green detailing you get with the Wraith at the back. Again, cheap skin at 28 cent, but I think you've already seen skins in this price range or cheaper that look considerably better. Like, I like the detailing on the Wraiths, and I think actually it still is A tier, but ironwork maybe is C tier. I know the pricing's so similar, but I feel like your offering is a big jump better in the Wraiths. This one might be a little bit niche. This is the clear polymer, and I actually haven't noticed before that in idle you actually get really bright blue bits of, like, just really bright blue on it. I never spotted that before because I've never cared to look at it. 32 cent skin though. I think this clear polymer style will appeal to some people, and that price being cheap will then help it along. For me though, it doesn't do much. But I think realistically, it deserves to be in the same sort of category as the Sacrifice. Now, seeing like this is planning out, I feel like near the end, people are going to accuse me of bias for skins I own. And this is hopefully going to help get away from that. This is the Grinder. It's a pattern-based skin. It's $2 factory new. Now, this is one where there's a lot of white chaos going on the front of it, and then on the non-play side you actually get some nice colouring. So you can see all the Glock skins I own here. There's the transparency of what I have, what my sway, my ratings. This is a different Grinder. This is a pattern where on this left play side for crafting, I want only orange, black, and little bits of yellow. And it was like the best pattern. And the top of the slider is pretty similar, but you can see when that white pattern starts to come in. And this allows different craft potential, which is really nice, but it is that awkwardness of needing the right pattern. And it's with that in mind, it's going into C tier. And I took a slightly different approach on this one for the Glock Gamma Dot, because I don't want to do all 5 of them. I want it because it is just one. Technically there's 5 skins, but it's listed down as one skin category. It's a Gamma Doppler Glock. So What do we have? We have the 4 normal phases. Phase 1, 3, and 4 aren't too dissimilarly priced. I put them from $75 plus. That's the starting price factoring you for those 3. You get a price sort of overpay jump for the Phase 2. That'll be the one that's max green and closest to the emerald. And then once we get to the emerald, it looks incredible, but we are just talking a crazy premium for what you get. Also, the issue here, obviously, I don't think a full emerald block would have worked, but I feel like this default grayish crap just could have been black or something. Guys actually have grip texturing that's different, which puts me in a really weird spot for it, because I feel like $70 for the Phase 3, for example, is quite good value. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go D tier, because just it is $75, and then the emerald is crazy money. This is another one that's going to make my my race placement a little bit tricky. The catacombs, again, not too dissimilar, but it is just skulls dropped on top. It doesn't have like what looks like that 3D mapping artwork on it. So for me, this skin's whatever. I have never really suggested it in a loadout buying option, just because I don't care for it that much. Again, me not caring for it doesn't mean it should be higher rating, so I think like middle of C tier. Now this isn't in order yet. I'll try and do the updated order at the end. Now, this is getting to the point where I was worried about people thinking I maybe have a bit of bias. This is the Ramesses Reach Glock. In factory new, it will cost you just under $10. This is worth every cent in my opinion. When you look at the other Glocks here, like you're talking $25 for a Sandrin, $1,500 for a Fade, or you can get this. Fully themed to the map that is related to in the collection, detailing everywhere. It's incredible. And I know other skins have Battlescarred Easter eggs, but this one gets like the mummy onto it. So this is a 0.77 float where it starts to come through. You do need to go higher float to get it sort of the whole way, but it looks better in idle than it actually does when it's being inspected. And this gets the price down half. So just again, I personally want to put this in S tier. I feel like when I look at the other stuff around it, I've not got anything near $10 that high up, so I'll go and put it high A tier. The Vogue is $5.50, and it honestly gives me the same sort of conversation that I just had around the Ramesses Reach, because color-wise, it's fantastic. You got purple, you got pink, you got a little bit of yellow coming through. You have detailing the whole way over it, which is really nicely done, and it just wears a little bit bad, but not too badly. Like, when I compare this against the Water Elemental, it's cheaper than the Water Elemental. You get arguably better artwork. It's better value for money than the Neo Noir. It's same sort of price as the Wasteland Rebel, but much more artwork level to it. I know that's personal preference. And as I said, if the Shinobu drops in price, it would be an A tier as well. Now, I appreciate that this is nothing like a Twilight Galaxy in the grand scheme of things, but when it's 60 cents, the Bunsen burner is a bloody good Glock pick. I love this. This is going into my S tier without a doubt. I think this is a really go-to option for a lot of people on budget blue loadouts, or just no themes and want something nice that has craft potential. Like, if I have the Moonrise in there, I have to have the Bunsen burner. The Gold Tooth is one of the newer added skins into the game. It's been here for a while now, though. It's great. I think that having them add the Gold Tooth, which wasn't initially on the workshop submission, was such a nice touch to it. Nice purple. It does pick up scuffs, and I watched the Penguin around the time this came out, and it just gave me Penguin vibes. Like, I have not watched that show, go watch it. But it is $22.50. But that puts it in line with like the Neo Noir, where I do think you get very, very high level artwork for the money you're paying. Now, the Ground War is $14, and this is the same conversation as the Sand Dune. It's just bloody lackluster for what you're getting. There's not too much to say. What I can say though is that it's going to be D tier, and you know what, if you rage cut out the video, you're not going to see what I'm doing now, but the Sand Dune's going D tier. It pairs with a couple pair of gloves that aren't that bad. It's $25. I can deal with it compared to the shit show that is the Twilight Galaxy and the Fade, and realistically in this conversation, my Synthleaf should be going down to F tier. This next one, I'm thanking Samota so much for releasing this. This is the green line. He posted this with multiple colors on it. I remember saying, I want green. Multiple others said they want green. We got the green line added. It's just under $2. It gives us a proper green value for money. Not that the Nuclear Garden isn't proper green, but this is like that shade of green that works better with the gloves rather than that nuclear green. And there's detailing all over. You've got the silver like the actual train car at the top, and it goes into the black, and it's actually a detailed black grip with a little green accent, so it offers a lot. This is $1.92 already. This is going to become like a sub $1 skin in minimal wear, or at least like $1.20-ish. Now, for me, I think it would already be an S tier skin. To be honest, I think it would be S tier under $2. It's a bit better than Nuclear Garden. but I'm putting it right to the top of S tier. My green bias is coming in a little bit, but future pricing, this is a stellar budget value for money pick. The reactor is a tough one for me to say like a lot of good things about, because it does run $9.50. And it wears quite poorly. If it was $2 skin, it'd be in the same conversation as the Nuclear Garden for me, but it's not, so it can't be. So it's just going to join this lovely group of like C tier options. Now, I've already thrown a lot of bias in, so I can't put the Warhawk into S tier, but it's going to be high up because 28 cents for this, and I like the worn dark green vibe that it has with this teeth. I think it's like, was it the fucking beat hats, some shit that looked like this. I'm not into that culture of things at all, so forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think this is a better skin than a lot of people give it credit for. And it's with that, you know, I'm going to say it's A tier. Alright, so here we go. This is the Glock Value for Money tier list as of April 2025. I think I'm happy with the tiering now. Yes, I moved the synth leaf down to D to F because it's $400. The value for money, I have to be realistic. Value for money is not as strong as I wanted to be. Now, I'm going to go through and reorder some. Alright, that's my final conclusion of what we're going to go for. The Winter Rise is taking the charts because 9 cent for what it offers is just fantastic. And I'm going to have the Green Line, the Moonrise, the Bunsen Burner Off-Road, Umbro Rabbit, and the Ocean Topo in S tier along with that. Now, the sort of ones to put asterisks on because they're newer and maybe the price could change things, or actually just, I think there could be a conversation. I think Ramiz's Reach really could have a conversation for S tier. I think the level of artwork you get for a $10 skin is actually tremendous, but when you're talking like $2, $1, I think that's where the debate comes in. The Shinobu for me would join this sort of element here in A tier if the price drops to $10-ish for minimal wear. But for now, given that it's a $25 skin, it's going to be the top of B tier, and then our F tier skins are the Synth Leaf, the Twilight Galaxy, and the Fade. I don't think there's any surprise there, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. We're going to keep doing value for money tier lists every Sunday for a few weeks. So, you know, stick in and hopefully you enjoy them. Let me know in the comments down below if there's any massive changes you would make here, things you think I got wrong, things you agree with. I always like that feedback and having that conversation, which is greatly appreciate it. I'm going to end the waffling. You guys can hit that like button if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button if you're around here. Big thank you to the YouTube members that continue to support the channel. And I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.